Autonomy away from WBAI. I was listening to KPFA today. They had a report to the listener, and Grace Aarons was on the report, and the listener called in and said that KPFA should be more like Air America, and she agreed with her. And that's the kind of thing that they're looking to do here, to change the character of the station, change the direction of the programming, to get their friends to listen in more. We can stop them. Some of the things that they've done have been contrary to the bylaws. They have made a decision that they had a meeting that they call an emergency secret meeting, closed meeting they called it, where at this meeting, closed session, at this meeting they decided that they would stop the regular evaluation process that had already begun, and they would do an on-the-spot evaluation of both me and Anthony Riddle. And of course, you know what the outcome of that was. They were demanding that Anthony Riddle fire me, and if he didn't fire me, it would look bad on his evaluation. Of course, he would then be fired. The reason why they want to get rid of me is not because of my good looks. It's because as program director, I've been in the front of stopping them from changing the kind of program that we have. And our program, can it be made better? Of course it can. Can it be made better by people from California? No, it cannot. And what we have to do is, I think we have to show how callous and silly they are to do this right before we're going into a fund drive. Is just absolutely insane. It shows how little they feel for the station. People are at least going to be confused and not want to give money to this kind of, with this kind of confusion. I think that what they have to do is apologize to the listeners for the mistakes, for violating the bylaws, number one. They have to reverse all the decisions that were made. If they want to give me an evaluation, I have no problem with that, as long as it's an open, fair evaluation, and then let the chips fall where they may. But I think they have to do that. Right now, people who are listening to the station, as I said this morning, I've been getting calls. I got a call from Paris. I got calls from various cities all across the country where people are upset about what's going on, because they've been listening and they found out, they're hearing what's happening. And that they need to apologize to the people for what they've done so that we can then move forward. Because I don't know whether they have a pile of money somewhere waiting to infuse into the station, because they must know that if they do something like this before the fund drive, then it's going to destroy the fund drive. Not unless they have begun to believe their own anecdotes, their own fantasies. Because they have told stories about you, the listeners, that you would not believe. I know how many listeners, well, I have an idea of the number of listeners, the vast number of listeners that listen to WBAI, because during the fund drives, I'm usually there a lot, watching the pledges as they come through, and I see the zip codes and the names of all of the various people who support this radio station. It's not who they think it is. They've accused me of turning this into a black radio station. That is, even though, it's nonsense, even though I have put on more Latinos, more whites, more Asians. We have, for the first time, a Spanish language news program. We have a Spanish language program that comes on Saturday. I think it should be on Sunday, but they haven't let me make that kind of change yet. We have some of the folks that I put on Fridays. Comes on right after Earl Caldwell. Sorry, I'm a little tired.
Howard Jordan.
Howard Jordan. I put Howard Jordan on, who represents a certain thought. And he's a brilliant guy. I always learn something when I listen to Howard Jordan. They think that he's only talking to a certain group of people. It is a real tragedy what they're doing. We can beat them back. We can make them change this policy. All we have to do is believe in it. They are, you know, that anybody that comes in the middle of the night to do what they can do during the day is something's wrong with that. They could, if it was right, they could just do it at 12 noon. But they tried to surreptitiously show up in the middle of the night to make these changes. And they knew that they were wrong. What has happened here is that a small group of individuals, they started out as a small group, they manipulated the election, they stole the election, they wound up getting a majority of the vote on the local station board, and they have now, because of this guy Brown, who sends out all of these nasty emails all over the country, he has convinced the people in California that this is a zoo and that it's being run by animals and that they need to come in here and take it over. And it's been a long campaign. If you go to up on the internet and look under the WBAI LSB denounces or disassociates itself from Stephen Brown, you'll see the litany of emails that he's been sending out, and you can tell right away from the very first one just how racist and backward they are. But as I said, we can beat these folks back. It is very important. It's not about me. I'm not looking to get a job. I can use one, but I'm not looking to get one. I think that the key issue is that BAI has to be under local control by sane people. Now, your responsibility is that you have to get involved in this next election and make sure that we don't get this consolidation of people who don't have the best interests of the station at heart. You find that there are folks on the wrong side who have a long history of destroying organizations. Every organization that they've been in, that they've left it in shambles. And you're doing the same thing with this organization.
That's right.
So, you know, every now and then those phones come open. If you think that it's a good idea to tell the local station board that they need to apologize for what they've done and reverse their decision, because they're pretending that they didn't make the decision. Nia Bediako said weeks ago that they were planning this decision, and we were told that that was just an illusion. Now we see that it has in fact happened. So, you know, let them know that that no money is going to be coming from this community until they abide by the bylaws that we have. I think that that's a reasonable response, and I think it's something that we can get them to do. They're not going to want to do it, but like I said, I don't see how they can go forward starting Monday with a fund drive when there's so many people who are upset by what they're obviously doing. So thank you very much for coming out. I wish it was yesterday. It was a lot warmer. but you know, I'm sure that you will represent. I mean, it's not 5 o'clock. You know, it's just 5 o'clock. And I know that a lot of people are still at work, and there would be a lot more people out here. And I think for the time that this is being held, that this represents a lot of people. So thank you very much for coming out. And until next time,